Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Colleen and our channel's name is Our Silver Moments. And today I'm going to share with you 3 recipes for really quick and easy desserts, so pies that are no bake and that really require a very small amount of time. Now, something that's interesting about these pies is that you can make them up ahead of time. So if you were going on a picnic or going camping, or if you had a big family event coming up, you can make them up. You can cover them well, cover them in tin foil after you've got them covered, and then they can go right into your freezer where I wouldn't leave them there more than 3 weeks, but that's, that's between you and your pie, I guess. And it helps you to get things ready ahead of time. I apologize for the noise. We still have contractors here working on our siding, and I'm just trying to get this video ready for you. So I will gather up the ingredients that I need for the first one, which is called Pineapple Dream Pie, and I will be right back after this. Well, here I am with the very first one of these 3 desserts, and they take such a little bit of time to make that I'm going to make them all here today and put them into the freezer so that I have them in the coming days. I may test drive them. I may actually test drive them. Let's see. So for the first one, this Pineapple Dream Pie, I need a brick of cream cheese in the mixer, preferably rather than on the mixer, would be, preferred. And I'm going to start it and whip it. So you don't have to be here for this part, so I am going to let you go about your business while I do this. Several times along the way, I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to scrape the sides down. We want this cream cheese, which has been softened and is at room temperature, we want it to whip up nice and smooth so that there's no lumps in our finished product. And so I will do this several times because we want to get this really fluffy. So I think it's where I want it to be. So next I need 1 cup of powdered sugar, which you just put in there a little bit at a time until it's all incorporated. Now, I've got it all in there. I'm just scraping down the bowl one last time because there's a bit of sugar that got all around the edges, so I'm scraping that down. And now I'm going to add 1 tub of whipped topping, 8 ounces. And I'm going to put it all in there at once, and we're going to get busy mixing this. And I, again, apologize for the noise. Our kitchen's usually not too noisy, but it seems like everything wants to work today. We've got our contractors working, the washer's working, and the air conditioner's working. So I can understand if you're distracted by the noise, but I hope it's not too bad for you. Now, back down this goes. I'm going to put this down and I'm going to mix this until it's smooth. One last time, we're going to bring down the sides of this bowl. And then while we have that done, we are going to add the pineapple to this. Now, the pineapple is a can of drained pineapple that it's a crushed pineapple, and I've drained it and I've squeezed the excess out of it because we simply do not need all that moisture inside our pie. So I am going to measure out what I need, which is 1 cup. That would be the can. Let me check and see what size can that is. That is one of these. It's 398 milliliters. I'm not sure what that is in ounces, but I feel like it's a more than a cup. Not 2 cups, probably a cup and a half. And I'm going to dump that in there now. And we're going to bring this all to, just mix it through. Right after this, I'll be back. Now, that seems kind of easy peasy. Just going to keep that for the moment. And to make this easier on myself, I bought the Graham pie crusts because it was cheaper to buy them pre-made than it was to buy a box of crackers to make them. So they're pre-made crusts, and I'm just going to grab my spatula, clean this off, and we're ready to go. This is going to go into this pre-made crust, and we're just going to finish it off and get it in the fridge. Let's get that all in there. This is going to pile high because really this could be in a bigger pan. I think this is only around 8 inches, and it could definitely go into a 9-inch pan. But who doesn't mind a pie that's piled a mile high anyway? So I'm going to bring this to the edges of the crust. Just smooth it out as you go. These are fantastic just for all the reasons that I stated earlier, that you can make them in advance and then just freeze them. They're good in the fridge for up to 5 days. Now you could use your own whipped cream instead of buying whipped topping, but the advantage of the whipped topping is that it will stay standing up, where your whipped topping won't last for 5 days. So that could be the advantage, although these never linger too long in our fridge. If you were getting them ready in advance so that you could go away with them to a potluck or camping or picnicking, it is that summer season when you could be doing all of that, then definitely you want to use the whipped topping instead of the whipping cream that you would whip yourself. Now I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of coconut to the top of this, and I'm going to get my can opener, and I'm going to get a few chunks of this out just for decoration. Actually, I may check and see if I have another can of my home canned before I do that, so I'll be right back. I did have a can of my own, so I'm going to use this one. So this is a jar of pineapple that I made when pineapples were on sale earlier this year. And I'm going to need to pry this lid off. Good seal. And I'm just going to turn and drain it, and then I'll be right back. There, I've drained them pretty well. Now I am going to just go around the pan and place the pineapple in places that I think would make slices, and this should slice up to about 10, I would say. Maybe more or less, depends on how big you want your slices to be. Somebody may get extra pieces, who knows, right? And just a little bit in the center. Let me move that so you can see what I've got going on there. And just going to press them down a little. Add a little more coconut to the top. Make sure that the pineapple pieces have a little bit of coconut on them. And voila! There is recipe number 1. This is a pineapple dream pie. Now I'm going to clean off this protector that was in the pie crust when I got it. I'm going to clean it all off. I'm going to take the label out of it, and I'm going to put it back on the pie and put the pie in the fridge. Or I'm going to try that, because it seems like the pie might be too big. I'm going to try that. And that way I've got a method of protecting it when I put it into the freezer. So I will put this back on, and then I will cover it with aluminum foil and then into the freezer. And that's how we'll deal with pineapple drain. Stay with me for the next one. Okay, on to pie number 2, and this may be the easiest pie that you've ever made. I'm making a Hershey's Chocolate Pie, and for that you need 6 Hershey bars, or you know, probably other milk chocolate bars would work as well. But let's face it, this is kind of the benchmark for creamy milk chocolate. So I am going to break these up all about a little square, and I'm going to break these just into a microwave safe bowl. And this is literally 3 ingredients. So we have a tub, or 8 ounces of whipped topping. That can be whatever kind you happen to get. When I was at the grocery store today to pick this up, the store brand was on sale and was quite some cheaper off the name brand whipped topping. So I went with the cheaper option, and it once this is all mixed together, you won't be able to tell what kind of topping was used in it anyway. And I may have shared this with you before on one of our What's for Dinner episodes, because I've definitely made this one before, and it's a family favorite. Well, there's just the 2 of us, but okay, it's our favorite. If you're going to make something quick, and you've just got somebody coming over, or maybe the grandkids, this is something certainly that they could make. And I'm going to just save this little bit, the 3 little ends, and I'm going to save that for grating on the top afterwards. So I'm going to put this into the microwave, and I'm going to microwave it at first for 30 seconds and mix it, and then I'll go in 10-second increments until it has melted. Now, our goal isn't to get it super runny, because we're going to pour it into the Cool Whip. So we did it one time where I did it quite hot and poured it into the Cool Whip, and then interesting, the little bits of chocolate, oops, mosquitoes, the little bits of chocolate, they kind of fragmented off, and they left these little crunchy bits in the pie. It was super good too, but that's not our goal. So I will get to microwaving and be back when this is done. Now, while that's in the microwave for the first 30 seconds, I'm going to start getting the whipped topping into the mixing bowl and get it fluffed up, because you know how it is with whipped topping when you've had it sitting on the counter and the outside edges kind of melt, but the interior is still a bit cold. Here we go, there's 30 seconds. So I'm going to start mixing this up. Okay, it might be a little warmer than I want it to be, but it's nice and silky. And I'm going to get this going, and I'm just going to thread that in there a little bit at a time. This process, this won't be clean. I'll be lucky if I'm not covered in chocolate from head to foot. Now, just like any of the other ones, I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl and manage to get it all over myself. Oh, actually I've done pretty good. Just got it on my hands today. And let this just spin around a couple more times, and then this is done. How easy is this? Now let me just wipe up my hands. Although I'm not sure why, because I'm sure that I'll get it. Yep. I'll just clean these off down into the bowl. I wish I had some kids here today because they could certainly help out with these beaters, couldn't they? Or the hubby. Let's face it, nobody's going to pass up a good beater. Okay, now I have another one of those graham cracker crusts. This one didn't come out as clean, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. My husband really enjoys graham crust. I'm not the biggest fan, but I know that nobody's going to see what the bottom of the crust looks like, so I'm just going to dollop this in here because I don't want to draw all the graham stuff into the filling of the pie. And there we go. Now, I'm going to use my spatula just to go around and do the same thing as I did before. This one doesn't have as much volume in it because it's missing the cream cheese. Although I bet you could put cream cheese in it. Cream cheese chocolate pie. I wonder what that would be like. And that's how recipes get started. Is the way I wonder ifs. I'm saving that. And last but not least, dirty hands again. I'm going to use my little rasp. Move this out of the way so you can see what I'm up to. And I'm just going to rasp some of this chocolate onto the top of this pie. There we go. Just shave it on. Save some for the cook. And this is what this one looks like. Now, this is probably the easiest of the three, no doubt about it, but it certainly is delicious. This one won't last long, I can guarantee it. So I'm going to put the cover on it, and I'm going to put it in the fridge. Each one of these needs to set in the fridge at least 2 hours. If you could do them even longer, that would be better, maybe 6 or 8 hours, and then you'll have a better result because they firm up as they sit. So again, this would be an easy takeaway. Do this days in advance if you need to, and then you're ready for whatever event you have coming up. So this is Hershey's Chocolate Pie. Okay, the last one of these whipped topping pies that I'm going to make today is a cheesecake pie. So I need 2 bricks of cheesecake. I'm going to put them in my mixer bowl, and I'm going to give them a good whip. And I will not make you sit through this, and I will get this whipped up, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to move the cheesecake down the bowl, or the cheese down the bowl, scrape down the edges to make sure that everything's getting mixed properly. And I am, at this point, probably going to lick this thumb. And I'm going to get a cup of sugar. This is white sugar. Yes, it's a lot. Yes, all of these pies have a lot of sugar in them. That's why you cut them into small pieces. And I'm going to put that cup of sugar right in there. I'm going to right now also add 3 teaspoons of vanilla. Now, this makes a really delicious cheesecake. And you can top it any way you like with, you could use pie filling for topping or fresh berries. I'm going to use fresh strawberries on this with a little bit of cream. But I'll show you all that at the end when everything is set up and I'm cutting slices. I'll show you how I'm going to serve this one for sure. So now back to mixing. Now I'm to the final step in this cheesecake, and I was discussing how I am going to finish it. I'm going to add the 1 8-ounce container of the whipped topping into the mixer bowl, and I am going to today, when this has had a chance to all set up and be ready to slice, I will come back and I will show you what I'm going to do with this, because I'm going to add fresh berries to it today. You could, of course, use canned pie filling or whatever fresh berries you happen to have around. You could probably drizzle it with chocolate or caramel, add some pecans. You could really make this quite delicious just using this base and then adding your own ingredients to it. Now, I'm going to get this going. I'm going to scrape it down a few times, and then I will be back to share the rest of the steps with you. Well, I guess it's just one step, really. Very first thing I do is touch the dirty spatula right onto the side of the mixer. Wouldn't you know it? So I'm just going to scrape this all down, give it one last good mix, and then we are going to dump this into the graham crust. What a mess I'm making. Now, I've got the graham cracker pie crust pre-made from the store. It doesn't really get easier than this. If it does, I don't know how. These 3 recipes, I will have made 3 pies, not counting gathering the ingredients and bringing them all together, but just getting ready, having everything lined up on the counter, and being ready to get at it. I have done 3 desserts that will serve 8 people each, and I've done it in under 30 minutes. So I think that these recipes should be ones that you bookmark or keep in your saved, what is it, saved videos. Keep this one, because you're going to want to come back to this. Now we'll get it all in there. This will be a big one, and I will have to put a different kind of lid on it, because I'm almost positive that the lid from the pie crust is not going to fit here today. This will be a crazy high crust. I mean, a crazy high pie. As I said earlier, though, nobody minds a high pie. Just means you might be able to get away with doing 10 pieces instead of just 8 pieces. So that's entirely up to you. I'm going to smooth this out somewhat. I'm not going to get too fancy with it, because this is going to be for a family style meal, and they don't really, it's so delicious you get past what it looks like in a big hurry. Okay, now I'm going to try and put that lid on and put this into the fridge, and it's going to sit in there between 2 and 6 hours before I try to cut it. And when I cut it, I will come back and show you how we are going to eat this pie. This is a cheesecake, and it's a quick cheesecake. There is nothing complicated about it. Yes, it's a cheater's recipe probably. I didn't bake it in the oven and crack a lot of eggs. But what I am going to do is save myself a lot of time and still be able to treat my family to something that they're really going to enjoy. So as with all my videos, the recipes are in the description box below. If it's not my recipe and I know who it belongs to, I'll link that. I'll put a link in there so that you can follow to get the recipe. And I hope that you've enjoyed these 3 quick family gathering, camping style desserts. And if you have, please give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to leave comments below in the description box, because I love to hear from you and I love your feedback about the things that I make. So until next time, everybody, take care, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.